Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. It's Nisha, aka Mrs. Facing Beauty on Instagram. I just completed my everyday foundation routine, and the look that you're seeing on me right now, I actually did another video for called my daytime red lip and my nighttime red lip. So stay tuned to the video for my full foundation routine and enjoy! So the foundation that I'm using is the Clarins foundation, and the color that I'm using is 114 Cappuccino, and it's the Skin Illusion Mineral foundation. Before we get started, we're actually going to use the Hydra Beauty Serum, one of my favorite products. This is by Chanel, and I'm going to use one pump, and this is what I'm going to use in order to prep my skin for the foundation. So this is a great product to use before you use your moisturizer. Serums just allow the moisturizer to work better on your skin. So now we're moving on to one of my favorite products, which is the Hydra Beauty Crème by Chanel, and this is the moisturizer. This product smells amazing and it has a real cooling effect, so it's great before you put your foundation on because it really soothes and calms any redness or any inflammation that you may have to your skin, which is exactly what you want before you're putting on a foundation. And I find that when it sits in for maybe a couple of minutes, it's just perfect before you put your foundation on. So now onto the foundation. The foundation that I'm using today for my everyday foundation is the Clarins Paris Skin Illusion Mineral Foundation, and I'm Cappuccino, which is shade 114. It's oil-free and it lasts all day. I've used 2 pumps, which is this amount right here, and I'm going to use no foundation brushes. So typically when I'm getting ready, I use no foundation brushes. I have a lot of foundation brushes to refer to, but for my personal preference, I use no foundation brushes. I just make sure that my hands are clean. So to start, I always start at the cheeks or around the center of my face, and then I work outwards. So you can see that the coverage of the foundation is quite a lot of coverage. I have pretty even skin tone, but around my nose I do have some slight redness, so I like to make sure that that's covered. And if there is any redness that this foundation hasn't covered, then I'm going to go back over it with my concealer, and I'll show you that. I like to make sure that I go down on my neck and make sure that around my ears here is covered, and at the sides of my face. And I've already done my eyebrows, so I want to make sure that I'm not going to mess up my eyebrows when I'm doing this. I'm just using my middle finger, and I'm just going really softly around my eyebrow to make sure that that's blended. And I'm going to work downwards here, making sure it's evenly blended. That's what I find with even when I'm on set with my clients, I tend to ask them what their preference is, but for the most part, the clients tell me, you know, do what's best for you. But I always ask them if they prefer me to use a foundation brush or if they're okay with using my hands. And my tools of choice are my hands for foundation. Now I'm gonna go over any spots that I feel like need a little bit more coverage. All right. So looks pretty good. It feels really nice. It feels really silky on. It doesn't dry. It's not drying at all, which is great because if you have any dry skin or dry patches, it's not going to accentuate it at all, which is something that you want to really look for in a foundation. You want your skin to look healthier, and you want your skin to look more luminous. Like the foundation is called, it's called Skin Illusion. So you really want your skin to look as best as it can to give that illusion of perfect skin. So that's why I use this foundation as my choice. Okay, now onto concealer. I'm using my MAC Studio Finish, and this is NC42, and I've used this in other videos before. I really like this color just because it has a bit of a yellow undertone, which is great for covering up any darkness that you might have under the eye. But it also has, the reason why I like this concealer, pardon me, it has a really great consistency, so it's very blendable. So I'm just going to dot it underneath my eye here. Again, I'm not using any tools for this, I'm just using my fingers. Another thing I wanted to point out about this concealer is, if you'll notice the shade, it's not uber light compared to my skin. It's just enough to add light to underneath my eyes, which is what you want. and it actually gives you a more youthful appearance than just having that really light cast underneath your eyes for your concealer. Just around the eyes, I just want to make sure that I'm patting, especially that's a really sensitive skin area, so you want to make sure that you're gentle, whichever finger that you're using. Sometimes I use my middle, sometimes I use my pointer, whatever, but you just want to be gentle here and just dab it out. It's really important to make sure that when you're blending your foundation, which my foundation is here, my concealer is here, you want to make sure that you're really blending the transitioning part of it, and that's what makes it really look really smooth between the two. Okay, so we're gonna go back in around the nose and just that spot up here, and we're gonna conceal that. And I'm just gonna do weird faces, I'm sorry, but this is how I can get it on properly. But I'm just gonna apply it around my my nose area. So you'll see I applied it with this finger, which had the product on it, and then I went back in with another finger that didn't have any product on it, and I just smoothed to transition the concealer into the foundation. So you saw how quick that was so far, and you saw how little I had to conceal, and a lot of that is a big contribution to taking care of my skin. So in another video, I'm going to do a skincare routine for you to show you how I have really good skin. Now we're going to go on to set our foundation. The powder that I use to set my foundation is also by Clarins, and it's the O2, and that's what I'm going to use on my actual foundation. And I'm going to make sure that I don't put anything underneath my eyes because I'm going to use a different color there. This is the actual powder here, so it's a pressed powder, and this is the brush that I'm using. And this set I got from Sephora. It has, I think, 7 or 8 different brushes on it, but I'll try to use those brushes consistently, sorry, so that way you can kind of get used to those brushes. So this is about the amount that we need right now. Start with a little amount of product, and then you can go ahead and add more product later if you need it, okay? I'm just going to tap it on to the face, and make sure when you go over your lips, you just want to make sure that you close your lips up, because you don't want to get powder on your lips. For the most part, I mean, this is my go-to foundation routine, and this is what you'll see in most of my pictures on Instagram, and I'll link that below. So now we've set all of our foundation, and we're gonna go back in and set our concealer. And we're using the same powder, but we're going to use the 2 shades lighter, which is the 00. So I'll grab that quickly. This is it right here, so I'll just show you as reference. You can see the two side by side. So this is the one that I'm using underneath of my eyes, and this is the one that I've used on my foundation. And you can always squeeze the tip. Like if you want to just make the brush a smaller, you can just squeeze the brush. So that's what I'm going to do. So now we're going to go ahead and put this just underneath our eyes. It's really important to set your concealer because you want to make sure that it doesn't crease through the day, and that's important too with your foundation, especially if you want your foundation to last. My skin type is just normal. I used to have pretty oily skin, or combination skin I would say. I used to get really oily through my T-zone, but I've corrected that with my skincare routine, and I'll talk about that in another video as well, because I really want to be able to spend more time talking in depth about that. So to finish off, we're going to do the highlight, blush, and contour. So my go-to favorite highlight is from NARS, and my personal favorite one is Miss Liberty. It's pretty shimmery, but I tend to like that. Even if it's daytime, I like the super shimmery. And the brush that I'm using is the blush brush from Sephora as well. It's actually called a face contour, but I think I've been referring to it as the blush brush, so I stand corrected. So it's the face contour brush, and I'm just going to tap it along. Now, something I wanted to point out, because I see a lot of videos that do contour, highlight, and blush, is you always want to start, rule of thumb, you always want to start at your lightest colors and work down to your darkest colors. And I see that all the time that people do the darkest colors and then work up to the lightest colors. You want to work opposite, and the reason why is because you want to be able to build on your look, right? So if you're starting at your darkest colors, you might be washing that off, and you don't want to wash that off. So you want to start at your lightest colors and work down towards your darkest colors, and that's for eyeshadow as well. But I wanted to point that out. So people are going to ask me, why are you starting with highlight supposed to go last? No, it should go first. And I like to highlight from about the middle, so you can have a reference point. I like to go from about the middle of my eye, just underneath my cheekbone, and I like to go right up here. So that gives you a point of reference for you when you're at home doing this look. And because you're working with shimmer, again, you always want to make sure that you tap on the product, so that way the shimmer really stays. It's going to slightly buff out the edges here. Okay, on to blush. So the blush that I'm using, also from Clarins, is, and I really love Clarins products, I should say. This one is Miami Pink, and it's the number 3. And this really works well on a lot of different skin shades. And myself, I'm going to use it today. I'm using the same brush, which is the Sephora face contour brush. You're going to start from your apples. Everybody knows, start from your apples. And then you're just going to work backwards here. Tap off the excess. And then just work towards the back of your ear here. And the contour that I'm using, again from Clarins, and it's the 03 Dark. So I'll show you my sad one, and I need to repair this, but this is what mine looks like, and I dropped this badly. Okay, so I'm just gonna tap it on here. Okay, so we're gonna add about this much to the brush, and we're gonna go ahead and do our contour. Okay, so we're starting, and then we're just gonna add underneath, and then when I get to my cheek right about here, I'm just making sure that I'm doing an up motion like this, and then we're just going to blend it out. And I always do a soft contour, like I always have done a soft contour. I've never been really big into like a heavy contour, so that's pretty much it. So that concludes this video. This is the look. This is my everyday foundation routine. I hope you found this really informative. I hope I was able to answer your questions as far as my technique and what I use, and you got to know a little bit about my skincare and what I do in order to combat that. So I hope that you like my video and comment, subscribe, let me know what you use for your everyday foundation routine, and I look forward to coming back and bringing you more videos. Take care, guys. Have a great day.